of you joining us, about 160 of you who are ready to have a little transformation and have a sexier, more fun life. And so last month, which was just a couple of weeks ago, we worked on some things around having fun and being able to go to a party, or, we did a little bit on the Halloween, the party thing, and now we're going to work on sexuality. And I just want you to know that this is one resource of a number of resources in our programs. And later in the training today, I'll talk to you about some of the other opportunities we have specifically for women and specifically for men. But for now, let's get started. This is my first class back. I got back at 1:30 last night in the morning. Adelia's off to her daycare and feeling happy and sexy and refreshed and ready to be back and be with you guys. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, and we'll start with a prayer. Mother, Father, God, angels, golden legions, guides, gods, goddesses, saints, and sages of the greater and lesser traditions. We thank you for your presence, your love. We thank you for your help. Oh, and of course, Jesus and Mary. We ask that you be present with us today to clear any religious programming or violence or slavery or pain or suffering. We ask that this be a huge breakthrough for all the students, but that each and every student have a miracle and a breakthrough in their sexuality, that they feel sexier, that they feel happy to be in their skin, that something transforms in them as a result of today's class, and that they be more themselves, have more fun, be present in a way that's really juicy and playful and engaged with their partner. We thank you so much for the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, the people we love us and who we love. We thank you for our beautiful partners, whether they've been brought into our life already or are coming to us now. And we thank you so much for your presence as we create this miracle. Amen. And with today's class, I want you to really, with your whole heart, claim the love, wisdom affirmation. Claim the I own this space and I can transform it. I can change it. I am free to live a life of spiritual freedom and full self-expression, liberated in love, gratitude, and mastery in this body here and now. My spirit is limitless. I am responsible for any limits I experience in this body and have complete access to the divine through prayer and contemplation to release myself from any human bonds I have worn as spiritual clothing that no longer resonate with my essence. Okay. Beautiful, thank you. And then our opening blessing, a call to lighten, and for any heavy energies in the sexual organs, in the heart space, we're going to call on our own innate ability to lighten up and to become new and refreshed as we sing this song. Soft the night and sweet the spirit. Gentle voices call our song. We are magic, we are wonder. When we live beyond the veil, humankind, please raise your thoughts. Bring a plane of peace and love. We, the guardians of the pilgrims, we, the authors of the play. Beautiful. And today we're going to be doing a big clearing chart, and we're going to have quite a few conversations. So we're going to be working on a chart to clear being able to really enjoy and be present in your body, to have amazing, delightful sex life. And so we're going to get started with the clearing, and then we're going to have some conversations that I think are going to really be wonderful for all of us. So we're going to go with right, permission, and ability to enjoy fully fulfilling, wonderful sexual union, feeling sexy from the inside out, and radiantly beautiful, sexy, and magnetic sexual energy. So that that yummy energy as you move through the world, disappearing imprisonment. So if you'd ever been imprisoned by a lover in this life or a past, removing violence, so some way that you weren't treated with honor, with love, with cherishing, with respect, subservience, slavery, pain, suffering. We're restoring healthy function of the sexual parts of the body, healthy fluids, healthy responsiveness to a lover's touch, removing apathy, compulsive, damaging delusion, disgust, evil, intertwined, parasitical, and suppressing. The chart is going to be pretty big today. And we're going to be using platter, and we use platter in cases where there's a lot of stuck energy. And for some of you, there will be a lot of stuck energy. And so we're going to be using platter, just the hand facing forward and facing in. It's like the doorknob, except the fingers are extended. You can also do flutter if platter gets hard, and that's the hand hanging down and fluttering. I'll come on the screen in a minute once we get through just looking at this chart, and I will put the chart in the chat box for you. So we've got a full first page, a second page, and actually onto a little bit on a third page. And the reason for that is I added what we know of entitlements. And the entitlements class is coming up next week. So I'm hoping all of you are going to be in the entitlements class. And then this morning, I was able to take some time and start working on identifying prophecy. And so where we're looking at some things that overtake us and overrun us, prophecy is one of those things. And so I wanted to just show you, and especially those of you who are year-long students in the apprentice program, that I'm going to just quickly show this to you so you can see what I'm working on for you. So we have the 12 types of entitlement up here, and then we have the 16 types of prophecy. And they're not all mapped out, but the fact that we have something that we can identify these are the 16 ways that you can have prophecy, and these are the 12 different types of entitlement. I think that that gives us a start in really getting a handle on those two issues. So I just wanted you to know that I'm working on things. I've come back refreshed and ready to dive in and work on the bigger details of things and things that we haven't looked at yet. And honestly, we've looked at so much already this year. Yes, this year has been a year of mapping. So I'm going to put the chart in the chat box. And hi to every one of you. I know we've got an awful lot of you, so I may not be looking as much as I sometimes do in the chat box with 160 students. But I'm delighted that you're here. Looks like we've got about half of you on the call right now. Okay, so that's for those of you who like the chart in the chat box. So we've got that there for you. Prophecy has nothing to do with entitlements, and it will not be in the entitlements class. We're going to do, for Karen, who's asking that question, in the entitlements class, we're going to be doing 12 entitlements. And we're going to be working on getting those started. And as I mentioned to you, we'll do 4 in each class. And I will, I know that I left without the full details of what's going to be in each class, but there are 12 entitlements, and I believe we have 4 classes. So, well, maybe we have 3 or 4. In any case, there'll be 3 or 4 entitlements where we really hone in and we really work on that, and I blast for you. And then there'll be more work on that for yourself too as you do homework. And when I was working on soul family entitlements from my ex-husband, it took me 3 weeks myself. On every kind of chance I had, I was blasting for myself. So understand that these can be pretty dominating and pretty big. But I think as we map them out, and really it makes a difference if I'm clear, I can, because I've laid the track. It's kind of like if I used to be a long distance racer. I raced cross country in high school, running and skiing, and then track. And if you have ever cross country skied, you know that laying a track is very important, and it takes a long time. It's a very different experience than going in a track that's already been laid, meaning you're pressing down soft powder as you go, and each step is an effort. It's a lot of work. And once the track has been laid, then it's so much easier for everybody to go after that. So that's what I've been working on for you. I've been working on myself so that I can lay the track so that when you go through, it goes much faster for you. So I just wanted to make that really clear that that's how that works. And then the more people that we have, it's like creating a group agreement that entitlements are not part of our group. And that actually transforms a reality on earth, and certainly in our academy, where things clear faster and faster. So this is a very, very important topic that we'll be working on. And as I talk about that and really look at that, one of the things that was so helpful for me getting ready for this class was to take a break. And I hope that you all take vacations. And I was just very much in need after all of that mapping and then catching whatever I caught, detoxing and little preschool sniffly stuff and whatever. I needed a break where I wasn't working with everybody else. And as I was laying by the pool and watching Adelia like a hawk, because she was going all over the place and chasing the dinosaurs, the iguanas were actually jumping in the pool with the kids. It was very fun. I started to have this, it was like an epiphany about relationship and something that was in the way of me being in the relationship that I imagined for myself. And it was so amazing to the last 2 years. And I somehow have said, oh, that doesn't matter. And I've just cleared the violence away. But if you have that laying dormant, that you were imprisoned. And when I was working a couple of years ago with Rising International, and I was visiting with the girls who were freed, they were helped to, there's slavery in this country where girls are brought from other countries and even from this country, and they're sold into slavery here in this country. And actually, even here in Monterey and Santa Cruz County, there are women living in slavery and children living in slavery. But I married, and this is in other classes I've talked about this. I married out of a curse from a former life. My ex-husband cursed me in a former life and said, I'm going to come back and have my way with you. I'm going to have lots of children with you. And so that's what he found me when I was very young. I was 16. I married him at 18 and had 3 children with him. But it was very much a prison for me. And my friends didn't want to come over because he treated me so bad. They couldn't stand watching him be so rude to me and disrespectful. But the last 2 years, and this is the important little piece, and it's in the clearing chart. The last 2 years, I was a prisoner. So I was not allowed to leave the house. The last 2 years, he insisted on, if I left the house, he had to drive me. He watched me like a hawk. And there was, well, if you could just kind of imagine what it would be like to be a prisoner and be really just in a very loveless relationship. He had become very jealous, and we had 3 kids at that point, and this has got very, very difficult. And when I looked at that, and the epiphany part isn't the blaming him or it's his fault or this is what, but the epiphany was looking at, well, if in the unconscious of my being is wired that I would be a prisoner, that I would be someone's prisoner if I were married to them, then I would want to flee anytime I were attracted to somebody, because the idea of being imprisoned and then having your children taken away, um, even if it's in the unconscious, even if, like, I've cleared everything around the violence abuse thing, but even if it's just laying there that it's wired in that this goes with this, then you're not ever going to really be successful on a physical level. I'm not going to be successful on a physical level bringing in a divine complement or a soulmate when I've got that as a foundational pillar underneath. It's kind of part of the foundation of what relationship is in my world. So I'm just sharing this with you, this intimate detail, because I think it's really important. It's in the clearing chart today. We are clearing it. So if you had that experience, if you had been held prisoner, you'd been with somebody who was really jealous and possessive, that might be one of the reasons that you don't bring in the right type of person. It's just that you don't have the bandwidth to have a person that you could have a magnificent life with because of that foundation that needs to be disappeared. So that's part of what we're working on today. A part of. Also on painful sex, I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I know that one of the things I've really researched and is on the chart a lot here is for ladies, painful sex, if it's not just that you're not juicy, because if you don't have the fluids, then that could be painful. But it could also be demons, because demons can inhabit that area of the vagina, the clitoris, for men too, for your bodies, the male body, and then the cervix. And so that whole kind of area, your womb, can be taken over by demonic stuff. So if you've been raped, you want to make sure that you do a big clean out And then the other thing is, even though it's not a rape, abortion can also cause that kind of being to show up, because it's a violence against the body to rip an infant out, even even early stages. So I don't have a I don't I'm not a judge on this. I don't many women I know have had abortions, and many women I know have given up children for adoption, and I just have no judgment. But it's just something to look into for yourself. Did something happen when that happened? And a lot of times women will say that they just really changed, um, that their aura got gray. It's because they were going through a death of a kind, and it was a death of a spirit that wanted to be born to them. So on abortions, that you want to just double check that. And people will say something really changed. I don't feel myself. This is not all that easy. Sometimes it seems like it might be the only solution, and then you just want to make sure that you really clear out. Okay, so talked about a few of the interruption kind of things that might be affecting you having a wonderful interaction. I'm also thinking now of something. I was reading a mindfulness book, just needed kind of more light reading. This was definitely a light read. Well, I was one eye on Adelia and one eye on the book. But I really liked the ideas that I got. They were from John Assaraf's book. I think it's called Inner Size. And some of those ideas of visualizing, they're old. They're ideas from the movie The Secret. He just keeps, kind of introducing them into the world in different ways, which is lovely. But I liked the idea of mindfulness. And many of you are also Year of Miracles students, and we'll definitely be talking about this on Friday about mindfulness. And so we have our brains improving. And when our brains are improving, we can also improve the activity of our brains, which is our mindfulness. And mindfulness causes ownership and also creates new kinds of energy. So I was thinking about really letting go and just pump. I was pumping while I was imagining letting go of being a prisoner. And then what would it feel like? What would it feel like to be with my divine complement? And for me, I love sexuality. I love sex. So for me, that would be, but I'm also a very one man woman. So I'm not somebody, no judgment again. It's not me to be out with a bunch of people. Um, so I was imagining that, and I was imagining being sexy and feeling young and beautiful and appreciated, and really enjoying being with this sexy, virile man, strong man, healthy man. I have a very strong mock-up for a youthful, healthy man, but well-established, good guy. And, you just start getting into the feeling of things. And if you can do that multiple times during the day, where you recheck in on that goal of, yeah, I'm shifting something, I'm making a change in myself. And I'm not just a tired mom and a mentor to, thousands of students. I am a sexy, juicy woman too. And I just noticed I got my hair cut when I was in Mexico. I got my hair and nails done, and I had a photo shoot. You'll see the photos coming out on the website in the next couple months. That they turned out wonderful. And this morning I went to grab some food after dropping off Adelia at the grocery store. I dropped Adelia at the nursery, and then I got food at the grocery store and went to the gas station. And the man who had the big tanker that was delivering gas to the gas station said, "You are so sexy. Oh my gosh, you are the most beautiful woman." And I thought, oh my goodness, okay, I'm in this little suit. and getting ready to teach a sex class. So maybe he picked up on that. But out of the blue, kind of running across the parking lot, embarrassing himself in a way, but being so bold to, come out at towards me. And I thought, it's working. This shift in me of using my mind to feel youthful and sexy and beautiful, and imagining my divine complement, what it feels like to be with my divine complement. And I was thinking about that with this class, about you can also activate what it feels like to have delicious, juicy sex. And so you're very, for those of you who maybe have problems with dryness, start really imagining like Niagara Falls, just imagining something really different, warm and wonderful. And for men, we have the virility tune up, but you want to be thinking about maybe strengthening your testosterone and your virility, so that you really have that strength behind you. And it may, you can certainly do our Year of Miracles, and the chemistry tune-up is amazing. After doing brain and endocrine system and then going into chemistry tune-up, that's incredible. So you're going to notice some real changes there. She also might check into some bioidentical hormones, men and women. Men, you can check and see where your testosterone levels are. If you're over 50, they might be a little low. Men go through a kind of menopause, and women go through menopause, and that means your hormones start dropping, and you may not feel as much if you're in that stage. And so that's definitely a that's definitely a chance to improve that. You don't have to feel blank or empty, or gosh, it's just not happening for me, or I have to. Oh, it's so funny. At the little store in our resort, and it's got like all this children's stuff, and it's got ladies' resort wear, and it's got the snack foods, and it's got a little deli with sweets and goodies. And you look on the counter, and I didn't really look, but the man in front of me was looking at the counter and goes, it was just a little plastic container that you'd see like M&Ms sold in. He had a little to go, Viagra to go, because you don't need a prescription for any of that stuff in Mexico. And the guy picked it up and said, "You're kidding. Viagra to go?" He goes, "No, you're not kidding. This is Viagra to go." So, so let me talk about that. So if you're wanting to add a little juice and flair to your body, and you don't want to use chemicals, you can use essential oils. And so the for women, it's rose oil is very good. It causes a kind of a contraction in the area, so that's really enhances orgasm. And then for men, it's jasmine, and you always want to mix some oil, some essential oil with some almond oil, and that can really also be a fun thing to add to your time together while you're enjoying each other. Some oils that can definitely help sustain and prolong, make sex more enjoyable, make an orgasm longer, last longer, an erection last longer. Certainly, if you've massaged a fellow's lingam for a while with jasmine oil and almond oil, he's going to keep his erection a lot longer. So, and if you've massaged a woman's clitoris and vaginal area in there, and her tummy a little bit with rose oil and almond oil, her orgasm is going to be stronger and more delightful. And those, of course, are aphrodisiac oils. And so, setting a tone or setting a mood. Um, Imuna, I think you just look for a pure oil. The ones that I liked were from a brand called Amrita Aromatherapy. but there are many pure brands. So you just want to get a very pure brand. Amrita, I was so happy that they used no chemical processing. It's a little more pricey. I don't know if it is anymore. I used to sell oils 15, 20 years ago. And I was very happy to have the Amrita oil, Amrita, Amrita. Their office, I think their main office is out of Iowa. But I'm not going to say that. I would say doTERRA I would stay away from only because they do have nano technology in some of their oils. So doTERRA, and that does sound like that's a little bit alien, doTERRA. I'm sorry, I'm sure some of you sell doTERRA, but you want to muscle test. You don't want to be adding nanotechnology to your body. So I'm hoping these conversations are helpful for you. I know you're not used to probably me talking so candidly about sex, but these are classes. This class in particular is a class about sexuality. And and so I wanted to also, everybody's still doing the platter. I'm just blasting here. Also wanted to talk to you about the other opportunities we have, and we'll be setting up our calendar next year. So we have the emotional things like karma clearing and the 7 stages of love. We have things like that. We have some classes like that that are coming up in the new year. And then we also have classes on sexuality. So we have healing the sex glands and organs for men, healing the sex glands and organs for women. We have healing the orgasm. I think it's called healthy, juicy. It might be something like healthy, juicy sex, healing the orgasm for women. It's something like that. We have shrink prostate for men. Sometimes that can really interfere down there with your feelings. So we have that class also, and they're available right now on replay. All of those are. So those classes would also be great classes to access. And then for those of you who have, let's see, so then we have a couple more things I can think of. So we have the healing violence and abuse from your field and body, and healing birth trauma. So those sometimes are really important. So those are also classes that are available. And finally, we have healing female infections class, and then we have the infections class. And so if one of the things that is difficult for you, that makes sex challenging, is you picked up some STDs that aren't really you're not able to clear with medications, and you've been told, oh, this is it for life, take the classes on clearing the infections, whether it's the women's class or the main class on infections, and you're going to get the answers. You are going to get the answers. So I just wanted to give you the whole kind of support of what you're looking for and what we're going to be of making available to you, and is already available to you. So all of those classes are available right now on replay. So we have them, we've taught them over the last 24 months, probably most of them the last 12 months. And so it's really exciting. It's exciting when you take the bull by the horns and you say, I am going to bring my life into a happy, wonderful place. And I am going to live the life that I've been meant to live. Even, I'd say the other thing I would recommend is Balance Your Life Now. And that book has really been pushing me along to bring more balance into my life, and that couple gaping holes that need to be corrected. Keep asking what's missing there, and how do I make that better for myself? And I want you to do that for yourself too. So, I love to work, and I love my daughter, who is very demanding just at the moment. She's in her terrific 2s, and her favorite word is no right now. No, no. So, for me, you might have read in the Sunday Sunday newsletter, I said I'm really committed coming back to putting more me time in the schedule. So it might be when she's in school, but making sure that I stay in balance, that I have wired in a spa day once a month, and that I'm on an outing once a week, that I do something. I go to the movies, or I go to the theater, I go to a concert, but that I get out, whether I'm on a date or I'm just having fun being in the world, going to a party or something. So those are also things that can help you feel healthy and sexy and happy. So those are other ideas that I have. So that Balance Your Life Now is an incredible, wonderful resource. And I think it's $7.97. So a lot of you have it. I'm sure a lot of you have it, because we've done the balance class, and that came with the class. But we have the little book, and it has a 12-week program for $7.97. So under $8 to do a 12-week program is a really great deal. Okay, well, I've been working with you on some ideas on how to improve your enjoyment of sexuality. I think one of the things I noticed there was like revulsion and some things that we just have to take off. Let's look at the chart a little bit now and talk about some of the things. Platter. Oh, and as long as I'm big on the screen now, let me show you that. So platter is the hand held forward and back. It's just this. We're doing platter, and or you can do flutter, and I'll stand up and show you. So flutter is with the hand done like that. Oh, that was one other thing. I wanted to remind you, if it has not been on your radar, which it might not be, we have a class coming up, and I've done a few things. Oh shoot, and I have something else for you guys too. Okay, so let me not forget things here. Okay, so so when we were in the, let's go back here. Everybody keep pumping. Okay. Right. So one of the things I wanted to show you right here is just the statement and claim that we're making right here is that we're free to live in full self-expression, liberated in love and gratitude and mastery. And love is what we're talking about here. So we're talking about sexuality, but we're also talking about love. I think they go hand in hand, even though they don't collapse. I mean, you could just have a great sex life, and we could work on just that. That's not where I want to take you. I don't teach classes on hedonism. You could do that. I don't have a judgment about it, except that's not what I'm teaching. So if you think about your liberation of full self-expression, could be, when you say it and you really say it with your heart, full self-expression, liberate in love. And love, the expression of love is gratitude, isn't it? So the outer worldly expression of love is gratitude. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it's not very good though. I wish these were brighter. What I want to do is make them brighter. Let's see. Bold. Let's see, does that, oh yeah, that makes them brighter. Okay, not much though. Okay, well, one more try. How about that? There, now that kind of makes them pop. So you think about being liberated to be fully expressed by loving and being loved, and by gratitude. And love is an experience, but it's also what we emanate from ourselves. And then gratitude is the action of love. And so let's come on the screen a little bit here, and we'll talk about the action. So when we're grateful, the action is expressing love on the planet. It's expressing love. So last night, I noticed that car wasn't handling perfectly. And I also had Adelia awake at 1 o'clock or whenever it was. We were leaving the airport. We got back at 1:30. So we were probably leaving the airport around 11:30. And I was driving down the road and I was pulled over by the police. And I thought, well, I'm not speeding and I'm not driving recklessly. And so I don't know, the taillights out. I didn't know. So here's this very young police officer. And he goes, "Hello, ma'am. Do you know why I pulled you over?" And I like, "No, I really don't. Do I have a tail light out? What's the problem, sir?" And he goes, "Well, ma'am, you were weaving." And I go, "Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. I've been up for many hours." He goes, "Where are you coming from?" And I said, "Puerto Vallarta." He goes, "Oh, okay." And I said, I don't drink. And then Adelia peeps in and goes, "Hi, hi, hi." She was all excited that somebody had come to the window on the freeway to talk to her. And then he kind of chuckled and he goes, "Okay, you're free to go, drive safely." And you know what I did? I thanked him. Thank you. I said, "Thank you so much for pulling me over and letting me know. I will pay closer attention. I want to, get home safely for sure." And I thanked him and we parted ways. And there wasn't any kind of like weirdness about it. It was really like, I really did appreciate that he pulled me over and told me I was leaving. Then this morning, I come to find out that one of my tires is very low and wasn't handling well. And the car wasn't handling well last night. It just wasn't. And it won't handle well if the tire's low. So I've had the tires all filled with air and plan to bring it over to the dealer in the next day or so and see if I either need to replace the tires or whatever. But that's probably what happened. Why I was weaving is the car wasn't handling perfectly last night. But I think what I want to say is the action of staying in love, even in situations where you might go into fear or you might go into upset, the action of gratitude is the action of love. And I actually think the highway men, the police officers have a very difficult job because everybody has their fear thing up. I didn't last night. I was singing "If You're Happy and You Know It," and I saw the lights come on. I go, "Oh dear, honey, mommy must have made a mistake. I don't know, but we're going to pull over." But we were singing "If You're Happy and You Know It," and I just stayed in the happy and had the happy come back to me where he was laughing when Adelia was saying, "Hi, hi, hi." He goes, "Okay, ma'am, you're free to go and just drive safe and get home." So I think you're going to get a very different response when you stay in gratitude. And so we look at, and you probably have a story. I bet you have a story about stay when you were able to stay in love and gratitude in an awkward or odd situation, and the result was amazing. And so I just want to encourage you to be thinking about that we're free to live a life liberated in love. So a life of full self-expression, liberated in love. And how that happens is with gratitude. Gratitude is the action of love. So we emanate love. We are the experience and the essence of love. And then we have, and that energy is magnetic. I want to say that I've definitely had, it's been laughable almost, the amount of attention I'm getting, just having freed myself from that image I talked to you about earlier about being a prisoner with having love in my life, which is, I am going to another place. But before I do that, I want to finish what I wanted to talk to you about, which is the complete access. So we were on this, we're going to finish this conversation, and then we're going to go on to the next thing. So let's see. So this is the next thing I want to talk to you about, which is opposite there. And have complete access to the divine through prayer and contemplation to release myself. And I have created a class for you. And you might have noticed that I've really been doing things a little bit differently. Like let's work on improving your pump style. Let's work on improving your muscle testing. I have something to talk to you about muscle testing too. I picked up some very good information just in the ethers when I was down on vacation. So I found some more things on muscle testing. Actually, I'm going to share that with you in the Sunday newsletter. So watch for that for those of you who are working on muscle testing. But we have a class now coming up. Really, it's a quantum mastery class on clearing with charts and meditation. And if you don't feel like you're getting the full result, this class will help you, because we'll be doing clearing charts to enhance prayer and contemplation, which is also okay. So prayer is our hand movements. All the quantum pumps are prayer, and spoken prayer too, obviously. But our access and our prayer, we know and trust that we have complete access to the divine as we use our hand movement and contemplation, the working with the charts and the meditation. And so we're doing a class to really validate this 100%, to get you really fine-tuned on the clearings that you do for yourself with meditation and with the charts. So that's coming up. I think that might even be Thursday. So I really encourage you. I think we have about 40 people in that class right now. And it's all right if that's all the people who need it and everybody else is happy. They've got the results they want with their meditation and their charts. I'm going to guess that 90% of our students could really hugely benefit from this class, because it's entirely just focused on bringing up the level, where just like we did when we did the quantum pump class, where we're working on getting your pumps efficient to 100% instead of 40%. You're pumping away at 40%. So I'm just thinking that more of you probably should be in that class. So just as an idea. Okay, and then I did want to take you some muscle testing. I'm not going to address here. I'm going to talk to you about that in the Sunday newsletter. I'll do it on the top. So if you want to just open up the Sunday paper, for those of you who are always working on improving your muscle testing, I did see some things that were really important that we haven't addressed yet, that weren't in my sphere because they're not things that I'm challenged with, but I tested very strongly that they would really help some of you. So we'll have a discussion about that on Sunday. Okay, I wanted to go through this this chart a little bit more, so that you may be looking at it already. You may be like, oh yeah, I've got that. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Or you may not have really looked at this. Revulsion and anxiety and distress, envy, lonely, melancholy, stoic, self-punishment. There's a lot wired into when sex isn't working well. Suffering, not for me. Death might be better. No, I'm this. I've been shocked. I can never have that. Physical timeline. This is my history. I had painful sex. I'm never going to have sex that isn't painful. Undignified, scorned. So I think clearing as much as you can for yourself on things like your inhibitions. We don't have inhibitions on any of our lists, but I'm sure, things where you're like, no, I can't do that. You can't do that because it's offensive to you, or, you have to kind of look at that too, like bringing pleasure to your partner and having your partner please you. Maybe some things that aren't really we're clearing some of the religious stuff. So, that might be part of the problem too, is kind of some religious stuff. Entitlements, spouse, and guru, which is interesting because guru, a lot of times those gurus have sexual cords into their students too. Karmic debt, religion like monk or nun, financial debt. How many people feel like their relationship goes downhill when they start getting into debt? Relationship, they have a financial debt weighing or burdening them, and then they don't have a sex life anymore. And that's entitlements there. Self-fulfilling prophecy, self-deprecating, brokenhearted, religious prophecy. So there's a few things there in that column, I think, that are really important to just pay attention to. They're all important. Everything on here is important, but it won't be important for everybody. So some of this, there's will destroyer here, family controller. Do you see that? Will destroyer right in here in column 5. Separatist controller, bonding controller, punishment. That's quite a grouping there. Suppression, rejection, cruelty, falling apart, scapegoat of segregation. Oh, implant supervisor was also in family enforcer. And implant supervisor. Dominating chief. So those were some of the things that really jumped out at me, and like, wow, okay, we're really, I feel like this is one of our very powerful charts. I asked the divine to help us to generate, and for me to generate this chart for you, a chart that would make a difference in your life permanently. That's things would definitely change for you. And I saw such a revelation. There was so much. Falling apart is on there, scapegoat. Okay. Well, I'm going to take a few. Is there a legend for the chart so I can make sense of it? Mark, we do classes on each of the columns. So no, there's not a legend. There's a class on each column. So let me see if I can pull that up. Actually, that's probably not going to even be relevant right now, but let's see. Yeah, I don't have it up right now. Sorry, everything got closed out of my computer while I was gone because it was worked on. So we do have a chart on what class would I take for what column. So, but you don't have to know what everything means to get a good effect, a good result. And that's why it's an academy. We really encourage people to do year-long programs where they get the training in each area. What should help for intercourse versus external? What about help for intercourse versus external? Well, I think both of these, Nettie, because pleasure and sexuality, it could be intercourse or it could be external. So I think for women, a lot of times women, their big pleasure center is their clitoris and their G-spot. And it wouldn't necessarily be vaginal stimulation. Their G-spot is inside, it's internal. So this is a clearing for all of that. Yes, Karen, of course. So if you were relating to another woman, or you were bi or a transgender, yeah, of course, it relates to everybody. So I know we have people who are gay, and we have people who are transgender, and we have people who are bi. And so, yes, this applies to everything. Elkista, although I have been doing the wrong hand movement all the time, I'm actually feeling a little lighter in spirit. Beautiful. I love hearing that. There's something really liberating about just talking about things that we're concerned about that would, we could clear them up and we could feel a lot more joy, a lot more happiness about being alive and excited about our future. Oh, Mark is saying the chart is unstructured and really hard to read in the chat. That's true. And we don't leave there's some people, Mark, who want the words, and so I just put it in there for them. But we have a bunch of different ways. You'll see it on and off the screen because I'm talking and I'm doing different things. And then you can also ask support or training for the chart during the class if you'd like to physically have the chart before it gets into the member site. So there's a variety of ways that you can get the chart. It's just some of our experienced students, Mark, like to just copy the words and just drop it into a document. They just take it out of the chat and put it in a document. And okay, is prophecy in case? Let's see. Okay, so and then it looks like Sheila and Karen, and I answered that question. So maybe it's good. Maybe it's hello, Pete and John and Joe and Solisa and Kabale. Wow. Can everybody read our private questions? Yes. So if you had a private question that you wanted answered, you could send that question, just type it into an email in trainings and say that you just like the question presented without your name. So just send it to trainings@julierenee.com. And not necessarily even support. I'm happy to have questions that are curious. I'm happy to have them now because they'll help everybody. Oh, Johanna, thank you. I feel great. Thank you. I am refreshed. Thank you, Susan. Hilda, good to see you. And Trevor. Oh, there's Trevor. And Jenna, yay. And Arcady and Penny May and Aura. Aura from Israel. And Paula from Amsterdam. And Elkista from the UK. By the way, no fires here. We are in California, but we're in a very wonderful place. And actually, it looks like it's going to start raining. I have an intention to bring a lot more rain into Carmel Valley. I just started imagining and seeing that. And it's interesting that today it's been overcast and feels very damp outside. So I'm hoping that we can just really drench our area. Kopele, that's the first time I've seen your name in our chat box. Nice to have you here. And Imona, all is well. Well, and I can tell you a series of funny stories about the vacation, but let me just do it in brief. So, as my dear friend Maddie says, it always looks so much better when I'm imagining it in my mind. You plan this beautiful event for toddlers, and then the actual event is happening. And you didn't imagine that the toddler would be standing at the edge of the water screaming, no, 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 1,000 times, and you can't get close to them because they're going to hit you because they want no. And then the water sweeps them into the waves and they go rolling into the waves going, no, no. So she's right. I had really thought I had this really idyllic, it's going to be so much fun and we're going to do all these things and we'll just have some good mommy-daughter time. It's going to be so wonderful. And we got there and Adelia had turned into a little monster and there was good reason for it. She broke 2 molars. 2 molars broke through on our trip. So in 12 days, the 2 bottom molars are in. She just has the 2 top molars left and she's done. So she turned into a little monster, and she was yelling and laughing and running every direction, scaring me half to death. She dove into the water. She would get away. She'd get her little life jacket off. I finally started putting a shirt over her life jacket so she couldn't unzip it. And you'd see her, she'd be bouncing, and all of a sudden she was completely under the water. And you'd have to just like run in with your clothes on and grab her because she had gotten into the water without a life jacket on. And she did that 3 times. A couple times without the life jacket. So I started just putting the life jacket on up in the room. And then I saw that she could take it off in the water. She was taking life jacket off. So I started putting a t-shirt on completely over the life jacket. So stretching the t-shirt over the life jacket. So the last 4 or 5 days of pictures, the t-shirt is stretched over the life jacket so she can't take it off. A lot of screaming and no's, and a lot of chaos and throwing food and doing all kinds of things. You just don't imagine. So we planned a dolphin trip, and I'm going to keep this really short. I know some of you don't even know Adelia. She's 2. She's my sweetie pie. And we went to the dolphin encounter, and we got in the tank, and Adelia starts screaming. And it's not because she doesn't like the dolphin. She likes the dolphin, all right. She feels like if the dolphin gets to swim, she should get to swim. And the trainer keeps saying, get a hold of your daughter. Get a hold of your child, ma'am. And I'm saying, okay, well, she's screaming because she wants to swim. And I'm holding her as you want me to. And the minute I let her go, she's not screaming anymore. And then he's saying, ma'am, get a hold of your daughter. And then she's screaming, and he's saying, ma'am, she's scaring the dolphins. You have to get her under control. So Adelia was just doing her thing. I don't really think it's her thing, but she was just really loud a lot of the time and wasn't listening to mommy. So she got a few swats on the bottom and was very offended by those swats. But that was our vacation. I did get 2 spa treatments, and I did get a night out, which was wonderful. I got 6 hours. It was a Cirque du Soleil. It's called Salvia. It's Rhythms of the Night down in Puerto Vallarta. And it was so beautiful. And I got some lovely attention from some of the fellows that were on the cruise. It was a cruise boat to this location where they filmed Night of the Iguana. If you've ever been there, it's really, really a treat, and wonderful, delicious food. And I was there by myself, and one of the crew chatted with me for a while, found out I was an author, and I was a little bit, he was kind of excited about that. So I was ready and prepared to just sit with everybody else in the audience. And I was getting a back row seat, and that was okay with me. I really didn't care. I was just so happy to be there. And he said, come with me, ma'am. And he brought me right down to the 3rd row from the front. And so I was right in the heart of everything. And it was just over the moon, amazing. Really so, so, so beautiful. And this spectacular out in a forest in the jungle. And they had everything. They had all the different contraptions. They had things that would come over. What are those called? That you see in construction sites, cranes with, so that they could do the wire racks and things like that. So it was amazing. It was so beautiful. So that was beautiful. And somehow I came back and felt happy. So I guess in spite of Adelia is very happy. She's happy to be home. She had fun. She loved swimming every day. We had a little ritual every afternoon for about an hour. We went to all the there's little islands in the swimming pool. It's multi-layered into the, goes kind of, you look into the ocean. And we would go look for the iguanas. She called them dinos because she couldn't say iguana. She says dinosaur. So we go look for the dinosaurs. And every day, dino, dino, dino. So we had some fun, peaceful time. And we had a lot of no's and a lot of but I love her. It doesn't change anything at all about how I feel about her. I love her so much. So that happens. Anyway, that was our vacation. Okay, so Paula and Elkista and Kalaba, Kabale, and Imona, Zena from New York. Hi, Zena. And Jennifer from Australia, and Kathleen Liu, and Chris from Kansas. And Kabale is from London. Nice to meet you. And Mina is from London. And Mark and Johanna and Carol and Simone from Toronto. Steve from Hollywood. Hey, Steve, is there smoke down there? I think there might be smoke down there. Robert from Albuquerque. Martha from Connecticut. Nancy from New York City. Christina. Carol rather. Come on, Julie. Karen from Ireland, Paula, George, Juta, and Susan. Aloha from Hawaii, and Juta from Germany. Okay, I think I got all of the hellos. Oh, and there's something from Nadine. This is my first call. Can you please clarify the clearings? Are you constantly clearing throughout the call? Yes, you're keeping your hand going the whole time. Okay, so you're just going to keep your hand going the whole time. Oh, good, Steve. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, and Sina said she has a 2.5-year granddaughter and she knows what I'm talking about. Okay, good. Oh my gosh. You know, it's funny because I heard from the adoption counselor this morning, they've had 3 more packages sent out, which is good. So there's like 12 packages have been sent and we're just waiting for the right one. And I was kind of interacting with her, and it just gets to be kind of a chuckle. You know, you want everything to be idyllic. As a mom, you want to create this beautiful experience, and 2-year-olds are going to do what 2-year-olds do. They are. So you just have to go with it and say, okay, how do I feel? I'm okay. I actually feel like I got some rest. I definitely got some rest. I was going to bed early. She was getting up early, but I was going to bed early. And we had pool time, and there was some time. I read a half a book. That's a miracle with a 2-year-old. It's just really a challenge. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's a challenge to read because when she's awake, you're doing, and I'm working during the day, and I'm pretty tired. Not, just like ready to go to sleep when I get her finally settled in and then straighten up. And then the idea of settling in for a book is going to be one of the new things that I do because I love reading. So that's going to be something I do. Okay, so let me talk about there's a few people who are new, and I want to welcome you so much. Thank you for being here. And I think that you might have come in perhaps from Darius or one of the other interviews I've done. I've done a few interviews recently. So thank you for being here. And what we do in our classes, in this kind of a class, is we're going to do a big clearing chart, and then we're going to have some conversations and some interaction in the chat. And the clearing chart has the clearing statement. Let me show you that as I explain that to you. So it'll have a clearing statement. And actually, these are always in red, and I'm just back from vacation, so I didn't put them in red, but they should be. And that's the hand movement. This is the hand movement. It's always going to be in the first column under the parts of the blueprint that are affected. And I do a demonstration at the beginning of class, but you can always ask if you missed it, and I can re-show you midstream. So the flutter looks like this, hand facing forward and facing in. Platter. And then the flutter is the one where I'm standing up and the hand is just fluttering, like that, fingers fluttering. And I had explained that platter is used when there's really stuck energy. So this is a good one for this one because a lot of people have some stuck energy. Actually, one of my motivations for this chart was something that It's so funny, but you go to this. I went to a timeshare, and this is my timeshare, and I've been going for years. I've been going for 19 years to the same place, and it's a lot of older people and families. But in came four. They look like superstars or something. They look like they were in the entertainment industry. I mean, they just looked cool. They walked around cool. They had cool clothes, and you felt cool when you were interacting with them. Like, oh, they talk to me. Oh, they think Adelia is amazing. And I was thinking about that, the happiness that they bring. And one was a real estate agent, and one was he did renovation of houses, and another one was a designer, and another one was a principal of a school. And so there were four of them, but they came in with this, we're cool and we think you're cool. And it was kind of an all-inclusive, we think you're cool. And they would talk to people and visit with people, and they'd have these conversations, and people would feel uplifted because they interacted with these cool people. And I was thinking, I one of my very first mentors, Michael Port's a business mentor, and he said, well, everybody wants to be cool. And I thought, that is the least of my priorities. I want to be loving. I want to be spiritual. I want to be thoughtful. I want to be considered intelligent. I didn't think that cool was something I wanted. But he had this idea that everyone wanted to be cool, and he definitely wanted to be cool. You could tell, I went to his house, he had cool stuff. He lived in a cool neighborhood, he had cool stuff. And he had cool toys. And I thought, oh, okay, that's what he wants. But I can see a different coolness, which these people brought. And nothing, Michael's a lovely fellow. So please, I'm not saying anything against Michael. Michael's great. But these people brought in were cool, and we like to talk to everybody and have them feel cool and happy too. And I started thinking about that, and that's kind of like sexy bravado or something. And I don't know if it's possible for all of us to have that kind of confidence and caring about how we project ourselves in the world. But I was thinking, I'm going to do just a little more, just maybe 10 more minutes of getting myself into better, um, clothing and hair. Just spend a few minutes with my hair. I don't have to spend a lot of time with my hair, but just a few minutes, and have that cool feeling like it, because what they did was different than what I'd seen from this other fellow, which was they were they were talking to these older folks who were, you know, retired, and they were making these older folks feel wonderful that, huh, you know, that they were they were cool enough to be talked to by the cool people. So I don't know if I'm saying this right, but there's something that we can do, that we can have more of that feeling of confidence and happiness, because that gets emitted to the people around us. Like they feel delighted, and they feel delighted that you talked to them, that you spent time with them, that you thought that they were cool too, or they were wonderful too, or whatever it is. But I saw something that I'd never seen before, and maybe I just wasn't looking, and I'm in this different place now. Um, the other thing that I saw that was really amazing traveling with Adelia is how many people really want and love children. And there was several people we met who, whether they had one, let's see, one was adopted, and we had a wonderful interaction with them, and a 4-year-old, and two of them were children, miracle children born after a few stillborn babies, two of them. So two different sets of parents who said we couldn't have children. They just the children weren't, you know. And so I was just looking at the heart of our society, and uh, yes, there's a lot of just normal, healthy people. I was talking to a lady who is in her 40s, and she has a 3-year-old, and she's thinking that she's too old to have any more children. And I just, the whole, she said, I'm tired, and I don't really have enough to give this one. I don't think I can give any more to another one. I just got to be practical about this. So that kind of that feeling of the, lack of possibility, and that if you're old, that you won't have the energy for your children, so you better just have one. Um, so it was really an interesting experience for me to be a single mom traveling with Adelia. A lot of people guessed that Adelia was adopted. A lot of people thought that she was my daughter. We have kind of similar facial features in the middle here. So a lot of people thought that she was my daughter. I think the other thing that was really so fun for me is that people were all assuming that I was in my 40s, and I'm 61. So I was very happy that I was in my swimsuit and wearing no makeup. So that was what I looked like. I looked like I was in my 40s. I looked like a tired mom, I'm sure. But that was part of that too. So, okay, I'm going to keep looking at questions. We're 62% on the chart. I haven't done the quantum pump. Is the healing still working, please? Kabbalah? Yeah, it's at 40%. So you want to just move your hand. You can either do the flutter or the platter. You want to do one or the other. I do a lot of the work for you, but you definitely want to do something. And then for Nadine, yes, constantly. And let's see. Welcome to the terrific twos. Never a dull moment. Yes, Johanna. There was so much screaming no. It was hard. I was like, I love that. Thank you. This is incredible. Thank you, Nadine. You are looking great, Julie. Thank you, Zina. Thank you. And Mina, can we do some singing? Yes, we can definitely do some singing. In this case, Louise, it is. In general, no, but both of them can be used interchangeably without a problem. And you understand also that you've got me blasting for you at the same time. Okay, let's see if I can pull up a songbook. If I can pull up a songbook, like I said, everything was closed out in a really big way. They were working on my computer for days while I was gone. So now we have everything functioning very nicely. That was another reason we needed a break, right? The computer needed to be fixed. Okay. Okay, we got the old songbook. That's fine. Any songbook. Okay, well, we were just talking about children, so why don't we sing the Gather Your Children? And we can think about this too, and just freeing ourselves up from childhood on. Like I said, we have the class coming up, quantum removal of, we have clearing violence and abuse from your field and body, And then clearing birth traumas is one that we also teach. So we have both of those, and like to really think of the idea of getting children started really well in life. I wrote this one. It's an Irish type of melody. I've been in Ireland 4 times. My grandmother, Catherine Kennedy, came over from Ireland, and she had her children, she had to let her children be adopted out. So my grandmother, born to Catherine Kennedy, was raised by a shopkeeper and his wife who were in their 70s when they got her. Karen, can spiritual interferences come back after you clear them? Well, yes. And part of the reason would be if you had walk ins, but on these charts, we're clearing the relationship, the problem to the problem that we're clearing, rather than just the whole spiritual interference. When we go through a spiritual interference class, or like freedom from spiritual interferences, um, that is much more permanent. So that rarely do they come back when we clean house and we go through everything. By the way, we're going to be doing, I'm so excited about this. Let me come on and talk to you just for a minute because we're in a planning stage. And we're going to do everything a little bit differently next year in 2019. I've been working with my project manager. We still got some work to go. But we're going to do, rather than the way that we have it now in the charts, it's not going to be confusing. It's actually going to make more sense. We're going to, on spiritual interferences, all the aliens will be clearing. And we'll do that. And then we'll do all the demons and all the humanoids and all the angelic interferences. And just like we did transmissions, waves, and frequencies. And we're going to, and that's what I've been going to, is like the realms, the brands, the labels, and whatever. So we're gonna change that. And so instead of doing 1 through 8 and then 9 through 40, we're gonna do a category of angels and or demons and angels, angels and demons, and aliens and humanoids. And we're gonna just clear everything in each category, which I think will make more sense because if you clear all the demons, they're going to go much faster if you're just working on that category. So that's going to be really cool. So that's coming up in 2019. So look for that. Maybe I'm the only one excited about it, but it came to me that that was the new way. And now that we've got things mapped so well, we can put them in a different groupings so that they clear faster. And I think that we get more clarity also as we clear in groupings. I think we understand them even better. Okay, let's start with this one. Gather your children, oh mommies, today, and bind them close to you, and love them, I pray, and give them your heart, your time, and your ways, singing, oh, Bonnie mommies, I love you this way, singing, oh, Bonnie mommies, I love you this way. Give them the confidence, the care, and the play. Talk to them daily about their new world, and share with them light from the mystical plains, singing, oh, Bonnie mommies, I love you this way, singing, oh, Bonnie mommies, I love you this way, I love you this way. Neti, Kegel exercises. Yeah, that's contracting the muscles around the vaginal area. It's very good. Wonderful. Strengthening your pleasure-giving opportunity and your, everything down there. Strengthens the ability to your bladder, your urethra, that muscle gets strengthened. This is wonderful. It's a wonderful exercise. Okay, the stones. And the stones, this is the, by the way, for those of you who are new, we sing to raise the energy and move our activations and our clearings forward faster. So singing elevates our clearings. All right, so let's go. The stones, they are a-calling me, echoing through an eternity, calling out to set us free, the power of the stones. At dawn I walked in a circle of stones, a solar temple to me yet unknown, till by the strength of first morning light shone the power of the Stonehenge stones. They grounded the energy of this place and held us together in loving embrace, while beings of light danced above the space, bestowing on us their wisdom and grace. The stones, they are a-calling me, echoing through an eternity, calling out to set us free, the power of the stones. The Avebury stones were laughing at me, taunting me, tempting me, dancing with glee. Playful stones make love to me in the circle of the stones. The stones, they are a-calling me, echoing through an eternity, calling out to set us free, the power of the stones. The heavenly chambers from days of old, Newgrange stones were a circle to behold. I knelt in prayerful reverence for the power of the basin stone. I touched my forehead to the rock. It filled me with bright light and talk of the ancient people and their ways and the spirals of the stones. The stones, they are a-calling me, echoing through an eternity, calling out to set us free, the power of the stones. Stones are everywhere we look, medicine wheels and monolithic books. The wisdom of the circle flows in the temple of the stones. The stones, they are a-calling me, echoing through an eternity, calling out to set us free, the power of the stones. Sex is magical. I like that, Anna. Sex is magical. That's good. Great. Wonderful. So we are at the 3/4 way mark, and we're at 82%. So we're doing great. And what I'd like to do now is kind of place a challenge in front of you, which is really looking at maybe affirming 6 times a day, spending 5 minutes 6 times a day in really imagining bringing in the partner and making love and the sexual delight. So if you've already got the partner, you don't have to imagine bringing in another one. But I'd like to challenge you for the next 30 days. And actually, if you'd be willing to take on the bigger challenge, I'd like to challenge you to do this for 100 days. So 100 days would be, let's see, be November, December, January, February. So somewhere around the end of February, you would complete this. And 6 times a day for a few minutes, closing your eyes and feeling that love bubbling up inside you, feeling very cool and confident and sexy. And then imagining and being really grateful for what you're seeing coming in. And so we have not just it's not a desire or a longing, it's more like a claim of this is already it's already happening. Now we teach this on a very deep, profound level in Accelerate Wealth, but I'd like you to start working just 2-minute mock-ups. 2-minute mock-ups. So you're going to just like spend 2 to 5 minutes, anywhere from a couple times a day. I would like to challenge you to do it 6 times a day and just hold the space for a couple minutes 6 times a day. So that would be like when you wake up in the morning. So if you wake up at 6 in the morning, and then maybe you've finished your breakfast, you're having a cup of coffee or tea, and you just take another, like it's your little trigger. I'm going to just take the time. And then maybe at lunch, and then maybe at your snack break, and at after supper, and then before you go to bed. And I'd like to challenge you to just take that on. We're doing a big clearing chart, and I'd like to just really see if we can create an act of change where your mind and your emotions and your body and your field and everything line up with this new being that you are. Now, I've given you a lot of resources for classes that you can take if you have some issue with one problem or another. So I would highly recommend that you include some of those classes if that's part of what's holding you back. Entitlements is really, really important for everybody, especially if you've got dominating ex-husbands and ex-wives and things like that. So I can't stress enough how important I think entitlements is. It's very, very important for me. I didn't have walk-ins, but I have entitlements that I am clearing the entitlements that were part of my picture. That's what I'm going to say. I'm clearing entitlements that were part of really pictures that were holding me back. So I want you to just be thinking about that, taking that on. And now I want to know how many of you who are attending the live class, how many of you are willing to take that challenge on? Do we have like 10 people willing to take that on? Do we have 20 people willing to take that on? I'm going to do it. And I think you can put on your calendar, you can just put a little check, 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 just get a normal calendar and just check it that you've done it 1, 2, 3, and just let's see what miracles happen. That'll take us to the month where we start our love process. So we're going to definitely, be working through. We'll be doing our wealth acceleration. We're going to be working all the way through, and then through the year, because we're going to have love and health classes all year long. So we're going to spread things out a little bit differently than we have, but we will have a love class in February. So that would take us to a love class, which would be, I think it's the 7 stages of love. Karma clearing and the 7 stages of love right now are slated there. So, okay, great. So I'm definitely seeing 1, 2, 3. I will try to remember. Okay, and that's why I'm saying get a physical calendar. And you know what else I'd like you to do, if you'd like, is why don't you create a vision board, but you can draw, or you can like what you feel, or you can even make a vision board really creative by having a vision platter. And maybe you've got symbols for how you feel. Instead of a board, maybe it's like you have the aphrodisiac oils of jasmine and rose, and there's a double candle or a double flamed candle in the middle. And maybe, there's other things that you'd like to kind of bring in and honor. So it'd be your vision platter or a vision board where you have, images of a happy couple and see your face in there. and a happy couple, maybe it's a happy couple with children, youthful. They're hiking together, they're dancing, they're raising children together, they're going on international adventures, they're making love and love making, beautiful pictures of caressing by the beach, or uh, a beautiful bed. Maybe you need a new bed or new sheets. That was another thing that just before I left, I started thinking, there's some ways that things can be energized really differently. Like, I'm a very practical Minnesota girl, and we use things until they fall apart. And I don't use them until they fall apart, but I use them for years. Like, my towels are from when I moved in 4 years ago, and my sheets from 4 years ago. And I was thinking, well, I can energize this space, a welcoming space where it was ready for new, where I had some new negligees, and I had, just was created a little bit differently. I know there's a crib going in upstairs because, like I said, I've continued to have, um, birth mothers looking at the baby, at me as the new mom for the baby. But I can also energize that as a lovemaking space. And I'm also putting in a portable crib in Adelia's room. So think about that. Like, what would that be like to not just imagine it with your mind, but to have it be an actionable thing that you're doing? And then it might be that you're going to meet your fellow on OkCupid or eHarmony. Those are websites, dating websites. And it might not be. I know that my age doesn't match with who I appear to be in the world. And so a lot of times I get men that are older or not in good health. And so for me, it's going to be being out in the world. And so I notice that when I'm interacting, men who are giving me lots of validation are probably more like in their 40s. And so that would be also a way for me, if I'm just making a commitment to get out where people are. Maybe I was thinking maybe get into salsa lessons because I love to dance and I love salsa. I haven't done it in 20 years. Get back to doing a little salsa. But just making sure that you're getting out and in different places where people can see you. I think that's another thing to take on. So you could do a vision board. You could write. You could do brainstorming every day for 10 minutes. Just write everything of stream of consciousness of how you feel together. Just take a notepad and everything you feel, like how I feel with my beloved. So there's a lot of different things we can do. So this is activating, bringing in somebody. But if you have somebody, then it's how do I feel making love? And how do those sheets feel? And how does his body or her body feel against me? And what are the smells that we're enjoying? And you really, like, you're activating it more than just the little, it's happening in the act. It's being activated in your field. And so you're creating a new reality. So I just want to encourage you that this could be a super, super fun project. If it's something that you really want to transform, and you have to look at how committed am I to this? And is this really important to me? And will this really make a difference for me? My girlfriend blessed a blessing party for my new space home for love and my full life. Room to room, powerful. Lovely, Kathleen Lou. Yes, I created a vision platter before it was powerful. I'm going to create a vision altar in my home on my phone and through music. Beautiful. That's another thing you can do. You can create a playlist of, that's funny. I like that idea. Adelia is insisting on Bruno Mars, and so we have the Bruno Mars playlist. And I am so done with Bruno Mars. And she goes, Bruno Mars, like 100 times when she wakes up. Not hi, mommy, not hug. It's Bruno Mars, Bruno Mars, Bruno Mars. And Adelia kisses the screen when Bruno Mars his playlist is playing in the morning. But I like that idea of a playlist of songs that make you feel that have you or evoke the feeling of love or sexuality or delight, you know, delight in union. Oh, Martha, that's going to be fun for you. Okay. Okay. So I see you guys saying yes. All right. So we've got a lot of ideas that we've talked about here. Ideas both on a physical level, maybe getting some jasmine oil or some rose oil or both, and almond oil to mix with it. We've talked about visualizing, and Nettie brought up the idea of Kegels. You can do muscular exercises. I think there might even be some yoga for activating sex if you look that up online. There's definitely tantric yoga, which for the most part, I've been in India and done India and other lifetimes. Tantra that they're teaching nowadays in the West is not really tantric yoga, but it has value. So great, Christy. Good to see that. Yeah, I like the idea. We're so powerful. I think there's another thing that happens is when you're just so involved with your day, and for me, it's managing a toddler who's saying no a lot and biting and whatever she's doing, and a lot of work with business and the house and everything. We've done some a little bit of remodeling. The cottage was remodeled and some painting done in the house and things. And so it feels like I was just getting pretty kind of swamped with the mundane. And this, to me, feels really energizing. And it feels like it invites me to be the self I know myself to be, but haven't really activated for a long time and or ever, because I think I I left my ex-husband when I was 24, 25. We were divorced. So he was a major part of my understanding who I was related to sexuality. So either I was going to be, like a wild child, which I went through a period of being kind of wild, which probably everybody did during that phase. But and then coming back to who am I, and treating myself with dignity, love, and respect. But uh, so I think that this is a new expression for me, brand new expression for me in any lifetime. I think that what I'm working on, and maybe what you're working on too, is something just completely delightful and new and fresh and pure and clean and sexy and juicy and wonderful. And it could be, for me, uh, beautiful sexuality and union isn't pornographic. It's something way beyond. It's like meeting the divine, where we partner with our divine, the complement to our divinity. And so that the partner and the lovemaking, which can be all aspects, doesn't close off any way of pleasing or pleasuring, but the whole goal of that is to bring and activate our own divinity and our oneness with the divine and oneness with God. And that was, we were given this gift of pleasure. We were given this gift of sexuality, not just to procreate. That we wouldn't have needed that pleasure zone if it was just to make babies. We could just have instinct make us pump away like animals do, or reptiles do. They just pump and they get it done, and then it's done. And I don't know how much pleasure it is, but we have the gift of incredible pleasure and such fulfillment and satisfaction, and such a unique emotional bond when that's present. And that's what I want to invite you into, is that up leveling and awakening of a sexuality that's divine. And you can do any version you want. You don't have to do my version, but I'm just giving you an example, an idea of what might be really blissfully beautiful for you. Certainly will be for me. And then we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yes, you definitely could. As a matter of fact, I put a little rose and jasmine oil in the body butter that I make, Karen. Zena's in? Good. The clearing, how does the clearing affect your significant other? You'll be clearer, and so they won't experience your blocks as much. And Christy said she's in. Great. How many feel like if I committed to this, it would be too hard? And I don't want to answer to anybody. Like, this has always been like a little bit too hard for me. And I'm happy to do the clearing. But if I committed to 100 days of 6 times a day or even 2 times a day, imagining something delightful, that it would just be too much. I would just go into overwhelm. How many of you have that kind of a feeling that I just can't do this? Does anybody have that? Because I think that that's a space of looking at clearing the right permission and ability um, to really experience the full capacity of joy in the body. I was thinking about this. I went to see the Cirque Soleil performance, Salvia, which wasn't Cirque Soleil particularly. It's Cirque Soleil style performing. And one of the things that kind of blew me away is how incredible the human body is. And they had contortionists. They had 4 women that were like bending backwards and wrapping themselves around each other. And they had these men that were holding these round, kind of big, they look like hula hoops in a way, but they were big steel things, and they were rolling around on these hula hoops. And I was like, how there's just like so much strength. And these fire throwers that were tolerating this fire that's so hot. When it came close to me, I was like, whoa, I feel like I'm going to burn up. And that was like 10 feet away from me. And I felt like I was going to burn up. And there they are standing in the middle of these circles of fire. And just looking at all of the possibility of the human body, what the human body can do. And, I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to do all of that, but it excited me and got me back committed to daily exercise, daily, working. I'm going to start working yoga and dance again and do some light, whether it's running or hiking. I'm going to start doing that again. Because I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, I'm not an old person. And this excites me. And the same goes for the capacity we have for when we're deeply in love, that deep sexual fulfillment. It's very big. It's very expansive. It's not small. Okay, let's see. So I see a few people making some comments. So I do want to comment on the comments that are coming in right now. I feel tired today and cannot see making the commitment and sticking with it. Okay, that's real. Dree, yes, I did not feel overwhelmed with, yes, I did feel overwhelmed with 100 days, but we'll try it. Nettie, I will definitely work on doing something. Yes. Okay. I will struggle, but I will give it a serious try. Just need to find a way to remember to do it. Put it on a calendar and keep it on your bathroom mirror or something, Imona. Put it on a calendar. I do feel overwhelmed 6 times a day for 100 days. Yeah, okay, good. I'm willing to try 100 days, but I feel I have blocks to having sex because of other experiences. Okay. And then it's more clearings probably for Susan. And for all of you who are feeling like, wow, that's a lot, because what we're looking at, and maybe you do it once a day, not 6 times a day, and maybe you do it for 90 days or 30 days. But what we're looking at is you making a space for you to be happy, to not just say, oh, yeah, I like that, but to really be able to move into a level of joy that you haven't had yet. And maybe you don't feel like you deserve it, or maybe you feel, I know that when any huge change I've made has happened, it's because I went the extra mile, that I was 100% committed and I did it. And I did everything I could and everything I knew to make that change. When I got this house, I was 200,000 in debt and I in July. And I said, and it was all business debt. I had a book and National Publicity Summit and coaching with a few different coaches, and there was all this stuff, website, and I kept praying about it and getting a yes. And so I put a lot on cards and my line of credit and everything. And I said, I can't wait anymore for a house. And my friend is like, oh, that's very unrealistic. And in November, the 1st of November, 4 years ago, I qualified for a $56,000 mortgage. And I swear in July, I started working my butt off in July when I said, I'm going to do this no matter what. And November, I qualified for 56,000. I said, I am going to qualify for 1 million at the first of the year. And the realtor didn't want to show me this house that I moved into, that I bought. She didn't want to show it to me. And I said, well, I am making it happen. I was a realtor before. I know how to do this. I have a lot of money coming in. You can count on me. And in a very short period of time, I paid off 200,000 of debt and brought in 600,000 because I had to pay my taxes, I had to pay the debt, and I had to come in with, it was 25% down is what I came in with. And I bought this beautiful home. I got a great deal on it. It was a million, just under 1,400,000, and it's now worth 2 million because I've been in it. Will be 4 years in March, and I have a mortgage of about 800,000. But I worked then for 2 years after that to make it happen. I worked 16 and 18-hour days. I did so many VIP sessions, and I just worked and worked and worked and worked. I did 5,000 20-minute sessions, 5,000 of them, 5,000 or 15-minute sessions, the freebie giveaways. And those people, a lot of those converted to VIPs. And I just worked and worked and worked. And what I worked myself into was this beautiful lifestyle that I have in this beautiful home. But it took all of me to make that transition. And I worked very hard for it. And I know every time I've seen a huge shift happen, it's always been that I've been 100%, no matter what, I'm going to do everything I can to make this happen. So I'm just going to ask you, and I'm going to say, you know what? I just started right before I left on vacation. I started looking through the catalogs that were coming about having a wardrobe that I feel delighted with when I go out. And so I've got like 15 different outfits picked out. I've got to hone it down. I'm not going to buy 15 outfits for the holidays and for through February and March. Nice kind of casual dressy outfits to wear out and to feel sexy in and to feel beautiful in. So I'm living into it. I'm thinking about it. I also was looking at how I want the house to feel when my dates come to pick me up, how I want it warm and welcoming the front door. I was looking at, what I want to put it out in the front area. So it becomes a fun project. It doesn't become overwhelming or, oh my God, I can't fit this into my day. It becomes, this is part of me. I'm creating a change. So I'm just sharing with you that when you really want that change, and it really is you asking yourself, how much do I want this change? How much am I willing to commit to myself? And how important is this to me? If it's 50% important or 20% important, you don't have to commit to this 100-day challenge because it's not important enough. And it doesn't have to be important. Like there might be other things, like balancing your life might be 100% your commitment right now. So, but I know that when change really happens for me, and I think for everybody in the world, it's like using all your resources, using everything you know to make that change happen, and then allowing the universe to create that magic for you and really inviting that in. But you're an active participant. I'm not telling you to work for 2 years, 16 to 18-hour days to buy, $1 million house. I'm not saying that. Um, my motivations, I'm very much working on a strong, stable, secure environment for the children that I'm bringing in. And so, I'm like putting down a very deep foundation. And by the time the kids are in second, third grade, the house will be paid off. So that's my intention. And having a partner will make all the difference in the world in having more children for me. It'll make it easier. If I have 3 children who go through 2 and they stay in the terrible 2s until they're 4 and they're shouting no, that's kind of 10 years of my life of shouting no. It'd be so much easier to have a lover and a sweetie who said, "Honey, you've been working all day. Let me take the kids. We'll go for a stroll on the country road here and we'll be gone for an hour. Just lay down, relax, go take a bath." So that would make it a lot easier for me. So I'm just inviting you to be in the question of what is important to me. And if it's not this, then what is it that's really important to you? And let's start working on that together. And then I want you to also be asking yourself, are my clearings going to where I want them to go? So there's a couple opportunities, entitlements class is coming up. Please, please, I would really love to see all of you in that if you can be in that. So if you can't, it's okay. And then the other one is working with meditation and clearing charts. And we're just going to make it so that you're much more efficient. So I would love to see you in both of those classes if you can. This is not pressure. This is just reminding you that these are things that help you get better results. And I'm very, very interested in helping you get really good results. I'm interested in getting good results, but I'm also really interested in you getting good results. That means we have more miracles and we raise the bar for the whole community. So it's really okay not to commit to 100 days of 6 times a day. So don't go away feeling like, oh, I didn't do the homework. Don't do that. If having a lover or having great sex is something that is so important, it's like one of the missing pieces in balance, which it is for me right now. It's one of my missing pieces. And I know I said I've had everything, I've had the joy, and I've had amazing sexual partners. I guess I've just done it all. I don't believe that anymore. That's an old picture for me. For me, it's really like in present time, that's what's going to make me happy and delight me is to be partnered. So I'm going to start working on this. So if that's something that is really like, that's you're really like, it feels really important to you, good. And if not, it's all right. It's okay. All right, let's see where we are. We're right at the end of the class. It's been so fun spending time with you, and I hope you've really enjoyed the conversations that we've had, and know that you are so loved and valued for who you are, and that I respect and cherish you. And I'm very, very glad that you're here. And we're 100% through. All right. So, no extra homework right now for doing more charts or anything like that. We've cleared the chart 100%. And we're complete. We'll do a song to end. And then we have a few videos to play for you if you want to stay on and watch what's coming up. So, but we're going to sing to end. We're going to sing ourselves out. In the stillness, in the quiet, in the open heart, there I am essence, I am breath, I am light of God, I am in the stillness, ooh, in the quiet, in the open heart, there I am essence, ooh, I am breath, I am light of God, I am, and taking a deep breath in, letting it go, and a deep breath in, and letting it go. And one more cleansing breath as we complete the day. Coming back to yourself, coming back to the world, refreshed, renewed, revitalized, whole, complete, perfect, just the way you are. You are wonderful, and I love you. God bless you. I'll see some of you in class tomorrow in the tumor, cysts, and growths and scarring class. All right. Bye-bye for now. Love you. Okay. So if you're one of my students who has challenges with the meditations and you say, it's just hard for me to do it, then there's something blocking you, because guided meditation should be easy and fun. So I've got a quantum meditation program. It's a 4-part program, and in each part, we're going to be clearing you and really clearing the decks for you to have a positive experience and have great results with your meditation too. And so if you notice that you just don't feel like you're being effective when you do your meditations, or you're not getting the result you think you should be getting, this is going to be the class for you. Even if you're just blocked, you just can't listen, your mind goes blank, you don't see colors, it's hard for you to imagine things, I want you to come into this class. This is going to be a powerful class for you. It's going to be a game changer for you. And you are going to be able to meditate just like everybody else and enjoy the process and get great results. Okay, so if you have a challenge with tumors, cysts, or growths, this is your class. Now, we are going to be addressing any and every kind of growth in the body, including cancer, including fatty tumors, including things that grow that don't belong on your body. This goes very nicely also with the infections class, so if you've taken that, you're in perfect alignment for this. But we're going to be removing things that create bumps in the body, so whether they're inside or they're external and you can see them. I've added hours to this, so we're going to do 4 hours this year on tumors, cysts, and growths. I think it's going to be an amazing training. We have a lot more information now about clearing. We've had some pretty successful clearings where people come in and they're filled with calcium deposits or cancer, and after 2 hours of one-to-one clearing with me, they no longer have that in their body, and that's medically documented. So let's see what we can do for you on clearing up these challenges, and I will give you some techniques to keep working on them until they're completely disappeared. But these are very pliable and movable. They don't belong in you. They're not part of you. So have faith and know that it's possible to remove these naturally using the quantum activations and the clearing charts. Okay, hope to see you in class. Hi, thank you so much for considering joining the program Removing Violence and Abuse from Your Field and Body. I'm Julie Renee, and I've been through in my life some pretty rough moments. And what I discovered as I started learning about quantum activations and clearing years ago is that as I cleared and removed the violence and abuse from what was emanating from me, people read me differently. People understood me as a different person. And my life changed dramatically, where people didn't trust me because there was violence and abuse, not from me, but from those who I had experienced it from in my field. It left me feeling maybe untrustable or maybe dangerous on some level. And when I was able to, I took a 3-day weekend and I just cleared everything I could think of and just pumped my way. I was hiking and pumping and hiking and pumping. And what followed the following weeks was so dramatically different for me, where I was warmly greeted and welcomed with love. And it was so rapidly after that that I gained really international recognition. And so I know the value of cleaning up your field and body. Now, sometimes we bring in violence and abuse so that we can make our spiritual leaps, or there might be other purposes for why that came into your life to begin with. And we do take a good look at that because we have 2 2-hour sessions. So in session 1, we're really focused on just cleaning house, removing the affects. There's going to be like 1,000 things that we clear. We'll be using the quantum pump to remove a specific technique of the quantum pump to remove all of this stuff. And then in the second clearing, we're going to be setting you up to really be received, welcomed with love, cherished, honored, and respected. It's a beautiful, beautiful training. I promise you, it doesn't feel like you're in a violence and abuse class. It feels like you're in a class of love, that you're held, you're supported. It's not about blaming or victimhood. It's really about claiming our divine space, learning from what happened and what we brought in, and then releasing it so that we can live our magical life, our joyous life. So I'm really hoping you join me, and I promise you it will change your life for the good forever. Hi, and welcome to your Year of Miracles. I'm Julie Renee, and I'm going to be your mentor and help guide you through the process of regenerating every part of your body, hair, skin, and nails, all the way through vision and hearing. We're going to be doing all the systems in the body, including the energy systems. We're going to be doing respiratory, cardiovascular, muscles, joints and bones, the musculoskeletal system, the entire body, 36 hours of regeneration over the course of a year. And it's perfectly paced so that your body can integrate the changes easily and naturally in joy and grace as you move through a year of clearings and cellular neogenesis. the actual regeneration using your own stem cells. I'm looking forward to a year with you in the chat box and helping you to really manifest full self-expression with a healthy, strong body.